Jah Rastafari. Faith without works is dead, you know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm cheating because here's like 1/4 over, you know? We've already seen some of what 2016 has to offer, you know? But we'll say, like, you know, I did prepare this in January, you know? And this is something I've been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, giving annual forecasts like around the winter solstice time. You know, just to give people some idea of what to anticipate, you know, so we can move in the direction of space-time and not move counter to it or against it, you know. So the theme, like from what I had kind of scienced, the theme for 2016 is the humble ascent. The humble ascent, like that's the I guess like the phrase or the keywords that I think best capture the energy of this year. And you know, like as we go through, like I'll show you what you know is activating those keywords, you know. But this is definitely a different year from 2015 and 2014. You know, and we kind of already see and feel it. You know, like there's just a lot of change, and it's you know still happening. You know, so let's do you have an advancer or how does? All right, no worries. All right, so what we do to get the forecast is we set the chart for January 1st. Thanks. Is this advancing?
No, laser.
Oh, just a laser. All right. All right. We set it for January 1st, high noon. You know, where the sun is at the zenith, conjunct in the midheaven, because usually that's the peak energy of the day. So the tone that January 1st is going to set, the tone is usually rung at high noon. Oh, give thanks. The tone is usually rung at high noon, wherever the planets are at that time. You know, that's what we get to hear from, you know? So just like some general things to view, 2016 is a 9-year, right? 2, 1, and 6 is 9. We know 9 years brings a lot of change, a lot of things sealing up, a lot of portals opening up, you know, for new cycles, right? And one other theme that I can say 2016 has is we should expect unexpected, okay? And I'll show you what's activating that. And yeah, I mentioned these others. It's very energetic, it's very different, and humble ascent. Yes, sir. All right. So 2014 and 2015 had grand squares in them. Okay? 2014 had a grand square in the cardinal signs with Uranus squaring Jupiter, squaring Mars, squaring the stellium in Capricorn, right? And so grand squares, they do afford, like we say, stability, because you know we build on squares and oppositions, you know, beams and corner, you know. You know, when you build in a house, you don't build a spherical foundation, because spheres are magnetic, they move. You need something static, stable, it's not moving. Squares and oppositions, you know. But what holds it static is tension. And we tend to experience tension and stress, you know. And beyond that, squares are also boxes, right? So grand squares can give you an energy where you feel boxed in, you know. You're forced to think out of the box, you know, think your way out of the box, okay? So that was the theme, that was an energetic pattern for both 2014 and 2015. We go to the next one. In 2015, we had a grand square in the mutables, okay? No, excuse me. Hold up, what's happening? I had some shit that occurred in the charts. Yeah, it was the mutables, excuse me. With Saturn squaring Neptune, squaring the moon, squaring the Pars fortune. So now a lot of these planets were beneficent planets, you know, all about expansion, right? Neptune, Jupiter, Neptune and Pars fortune, expansive. I know the Pars fortune is not a planet, but it's still about fortune, opportunity, you know. But the thing is, it was still boxed in, it was still this grand square. So another thing was grand squares, they're like holding patterns, you know? It's like the stress and the tension that's holding that square in place. It's also like holding you. So you have plans, you have visions, you have intentions, right? You might be able to harness resources around it. You might be able to build relationships that support it during these holding patterns, but it's not a go yet, you know? So those might have been ways we experienced 2014 and 2015, you know? But this year is very different. Here is the chart, once again, for 2016. You see there's no grand square, right? And even if we go to the next one too. Right? We really look at the energetics of the aspects, right? It's a push upward. You know, so all the angular movement is moving towards the midheaven, right? That's why we got that keyword ascension. We say the humble ascent, all right? There is a movement pushing us towards success. There's a movement pushing us towards accomplishment. All, you know, those keywords symbolized by the midheaven, right? So you see the angular aspects is pushing up towards the midheaven. But there's other planetary dynamics saying, you know what? If you want to flow with this ascension, you gotta be humble. Okay? Alright. Another big thing that made it different, this year different from 2014 to 2015, both of those years, we started the year with Jupiter retrograde. Okay? So, over expansion, over expectation, high hopes, you know, those were dynamics a lot of us were wrestling with Jupiter retrograde, you know. And I'm going to tell you how that 2 years of Jupiter retrograde has impacted like the collective the most is and to really understand this in a historical context, we've got to study the fall of the Soviet Union. Which Ronald Reagan did orchestrate, but what they leave out of the history books is that he worked with OPEC because Russia had invested billions of dollars in its oil-producing infrastructure. Okay, being able to extract oil from difficult places, like way up in Siberia, and put billions of dollars into it. And at the time they did the investing, oil prices were high. So it looked like in the prospectus that they were going to get a good return on their investment. But then Ronald Reagan negotiated with OPEC to increase production and cause oil prices to drop, which they did. And so meanwhile, in the Soviet Union, you had all of this investment in the oil infrastructure, right? And now the prospectus was like, oh my God, all of this investment is going to break us, because look at the price of oil now. It's not going to pay for itself. So then what happened? The financial institutions that loaned the money to the oil companies, they went under too. And then that brought the whole country down. So that was how the Soviet Union collapsed. 2016, we're poised for the same scenario, because billions of dollars has been put into the fracking infrastructure. Now, New York, yes, it's a good thing y'all got in that game late, because I think last year y'all governor said, nah, we're going to pull out of that. Okay? Pennsylvania the governor that just got voted out, what's his name? Corbin. Corbin. This dude gave Shell Oil $1 billion tax break over 10 years. Can't pay for schools. Pennsylvania has the worst highway infrastructure in the nation. Don't have no money, gave Shell $1 billion, thinking the jobs generated, the economy generated around the fracking, it would pay for itself. Well, that might have been true with gas prices 5 years ago. But with the gas prices now, they're not even producing. There's so much oil in the country right now. Not only are they not producing, they're using the rail cars as storage. You see a whole bunch of trains just sitting around, storing oil. And then they just ship it when they get an order. You know? That's how much of a glut it is. So now, the issue is, once all of these fracking companies start, if there's not a turnaround and an increase in price, all these fracking companies are going to go out of business. Wells Fargo, PNC, and all the other financial institutions that loan the money, they're going to go under too. So we got to watch out for that. All right. So now, one thing that was similar beginning of this year, the last 2 years, is that Pluto is still conjunct the sun around New Year's. That's why these years have been intense. Last 7 to 8 years, like intense has been a key word that we can ascribe to all these years. Intense time, fast pace, a lot of pressures. Pluto on one level represents our personal hells, different challenges and tribulations we have to go through to make sure we're aligned with truth. Things that transcend temporal time. Okay? And that's still real. But on a grander level, Capricorn is all about authority, leaders, those in charge, the decision makers, not necessarily figureheads, that's Leo. Ones you see out like Obama, out front, Leo. Okay? The corporate figureheads in the suit and ties in the office you never see with a stroke of a pen. Their lives, that action impacts 10,000 people, 50,000 people. That's Capricorn. Okay? So Pluto is really calling on those in charge to be aligned with you. How are you using your power? Pluto is another big key word with Pluto is power. Use or misuse. Use or abuse of power. So our alignment with truth, how we use our power, that's what Pluto is ultimately about. Right? And those that are in leadership, authoritative positions, really being challenged with that right now. Right? And truth and how there's so many leaders getting scandalized. Not just political leaders, but like leaders in whatever they do. So the first black TV man, Bill Cosby. Pluto's bringing out everything in his closet. Who was the biker dude? Cool name. What's his name?
Lance Armstrong, right?
Lance Armstrong, right? Leader in bicycling. Pluto brought all of his things in his closet out, Bernie Madoff, whole lot of, that's been a big theme with Pluto and Capricorn. But also, Pluto is calling for that humility. So remember we said the humble is sin. If there's anything calling for humility right now, it's Pluto and Capricorn. Where if you are, another good example of the Pluto and Capricorn phenomenon, the corporate dude that was in the beef with Wu-Tang. What's his name? Skrillex or something?
Yeah.
Skrillex. All right, so here you got this guy, corporate dude that with the stroke of the pen impacts tens of thousands of lives, right? He bought a pharmaceutical company, cancer-producing drug. The drug was like, $1 a dose or something. He jacked up the price. It's $300 a dose. Made millions of dollars. Then what does he want to do with his millions of dollars? He wants to make a place in history. Pure arrogance. Make a place in hip-hop history. He says in 200 years, hip-hop is going to be like what classical music is. And he wants to be remembered like Beethoven. So he buys Wu-Tang's only album. Like their one album, $2 million, and tries to get Kanye West. Don't release your latest album. Just sell it to me. Right? Just wow it. What happens? Man, he got popped. Because he had another pharmaceutical company that he was just kind of using as a slush money fund. Like cleaning up money. He gets money come in, he needs to clean it up, he put it on this company's books. He needs to get money to do something else, take it, do it from this company. He got popped. Why? And so we know that's corporate behavior, right? Put money here, shuffling money, that's what they do. Why did he get popped? More than likely, it was the omniverse attempting to humble him. Check how you're using your power. Okay? So this is another example of this Pluto and Capricorn phenomenon, and why we say it's the humble that is going to ascend. We all have to be very aware of our personal power and mindful how we use it. If We don't want to end up like that dude. Alright? Alright. Another big planetary placement for this year. We see very active. Saturn's in Sagittarius. Saturn brings, wherever Saturn is, that's where we got, there's work to be done. There's responsibilities to be fulfilled. Attention needs to be given. And it's in the realm of Sagittarius, international affairs. You know? And yeah, that's what's happening. You know, this is not a time to have an isolationist mentality. This is a time to think globally. They say think globally, act globally. This is a very important, because what happens on one side of the world will impact us. You know, with Saturn and Sagittarius. Okay? Sagittarius is, big key word for Sagittarius is I influence. Sagittarius is the realm of opinions and how we can get our ideas and our beliefs to impact other people. Right? So on one level, Sagittarius rules broadcasting, media, advertising, things on those levels. But on another deeper level in relation to what we're talking about, Sagittarius rules the fanatic. Those with intense views, and they want their views reflected in other people. Right? So with Saturn and Sagittarius, a lot of fanatical actions and reform. Okay? This is a time where fanatic acts might have the opposite consequence of what the fanatic intended. Okay? So let's say, right, I want to champion my cause, and I want to do it by blowing up a school. Yeah, that's not going to get more people to your cause. As a matter of fact, you're going to get a stronger reaction against your cause. We saw that with the Charlie Hebdo phenomenon in France. It also happened in Afghanistan, where the Taliban killed about 140 students at an international school. And this was in Pakistan, not Afghanistan. And it was, major reaction against the Taliban, amongst the Pakistani people, not necessarily the military, but we say the popular thought, So, Saturn got another year in Sag. We can expect more of this. Also, forced migration. Sagittarius rules pilgrimages, long journeys. Saturn, it's not easy. These what do they call it? The immigration crisis in Europe right now, right? Where you got Syrian, North African refugees going through hardships to attempt to get into Europe, And then just on a physical level, Saturn brings stagnation, stiffness, and coldness wherever it goes. Sagittarius rules the hips, thighs, liver, gallbladder. Okay? So we got to be mindful of those regions while Saturn is in there. Yoga, stretching of the lower remedies will go a long way. Warming foods that are easy on the liver will go a long way. Okay? All right. Saturn is also aspecting a couple of things. Saturn squaring Neptune. And again, like we say, Saturn calls for attention wherever it is. With Saturn squaring Neptune, there really is now more than ever this need for international morality. Not so much religious dogma, but spiritual principles guiding how nations interact with one another. Not individuals, but nations. Okay? Very important. Also, this would be a great time for spiritual works and pilgrimages. You're wherever you are, you're stuck. Like, you're in your local realm, and you feel like you're stuck in a rut and you can't see a way out. Go away. Go travel. Go on a pilgrimage. Okay? The traveling, the different experiences, it's going to help you with the breakthrough. When you come forward back to your local scene, you'll have a different perspective, a different outlook, and probably the perspective you need to move beyond the challenge that you was having to get that breakthrough. Again, that's called for with Saturn squaring Neptune. Neptune being in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces is all about spirit. And we mentioned Sagittarius is distant places, Saturn work and responsibility. Saturn and Neptune are good counterbalances for one another when they aspect. They're good energies to work with. Saturn is a contracting planet. Neptune is expansive. They're good tag team. Yes, sir. All right. Yeah, this is another complex aspect. Saturn is trining Uranus, hard conjunct descendant in Aries. Now, the fact that Uranus is conjunct in ascendant, this is why we said, remember we said another theme for this year is to expect the unexpected. Uranus is the unexpected. The rising, this is like, what do you say? This is the collective, This is like when you cast in a chart, this is the essence of the chart, the rising. So, Uranus, hard conjunct rising, and we need to expect the unexpected.
So
with Saturn, yes sir.
That would be Donald Trump.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
We're going to get there. Thank you. We get there. Saturn, trying this. I'm going to tell you how this is manifested. Lone, because Uranus also represents lone gunmen, individuals. We say extreme individuals who impact society. Right? Got these lone gunmen fanatics continue to impact international affairs and international relations. Okay? So, this is more or less saying a lot of those terror, and I'll put this in quotation, terrorist acts. This is, it's going to be an active year for that. Okay? And it's going to impact international affairs, international relations, international travel. Okay? Now, another thing, this Uranus is squaring the Sun, Pluto, midheaven conjunction. All right? So again, a big key word, expect sudden change. We can definitely expect sudden change. But now, how this square is manifested, this right here represents those in charge, the accomplished, remember, the decision makers. Okay? Uranus is stressing them, squaring them, giving them tension. How's that going to manifest? whistleblowers, rogue agents, awakened order followers will stress those in charge. Okay? So Edward Snowden types, we can expect more of like, right, so he was a whistleblower. But we can expect someone who was like an agent, CIA, FBI, ATF, say, hold tight. What I'm doing is not right. My conscience won't allow me to do this anymore. I gotta come out with what's going on. And it's going to be stressing those in charge. Okay? So Snowden Square can be a theme of this year that we can expect. Yes, sir. All right. Brethren asked, what's up with Trump? We knew this was an election year, so we had to say, okay, well, what does the chart say about upcoming election? All right. Electoral politics is an 11th house phenomenon. All right. An Aquarian phenomenon also. And so when we look at the 11th house, Aquarius is on the cusp. The 11th house itself is empty. But what rules Aquarius? Uranus. So right, this is going to be the most non-traditional, non-conforming election this nation has seen in a very long time. When we say expect the unexpected, yeah, that really applies to the political process. And I'll be honest, if you ask me, I'll be surprised if there is an election.
True indeed.
That's kind of, if you say, okay, well, if you expect unexpected, what are you expecting? There might not be an election. You know? Yes, I wouldn't be surprised, okay? Also, the outsider and the rebel has the mass appeal. So this is this dynamic we see where Hillary Clinton, who 8 years ago was like, okay, Obama, you got it now, but I'll get it in 8. You know, that was kind of like the attitude. They didn't even get other ones to run against her, right? She was just going to be appointed and anointed. But Hillary's up here. Hillary is seen as this Pluto and Capricorn, as those in power, those in charge, those with the swath of the pen, impacting people. And people are tired of that. They don't want no more of that. They want someone different. Someone, right, that appeals to the masses. So at face value, if you know, let's just say it was just Democratic, Republican, not all the complexities that's happening. We would say it's definitely a Democratic mass time, right? Where if we say the Republicans represent the wealthy elite minority interests, and Democrats represent the interests of the masses, right? And we're talking general, you know what I'm saying? It would be a Democratic year. But because the more than likely Democratic front runner is more up here in her energy than here, this could be a Trump year. Trump is more Uranus and Aries than Hillary Clinton is. Even though Hillary Clinton is a Democrat.
What the other dude?
And for the masses. And Donald Trump can be seen as an elite billionaire representing their interests. But his energy is more Uranus and Aries than Hillary Clinton is. Hillary Clinton is more Pluto, Capricorn, Sun in Capricorn. I don't know if she is a Capricorn. I don't know her chart. But
Scorpio.
just saying, huh?
Scorpio.
Scorpio, give thanks. But just how how she, where her position is. She's positioned more up here, you know.
About Bernie Sanders fitting to this.
Bernie Sanders, yeah. Bernie Sanders is an outsider, you know. So I can see him activating the Uranus and Aries. But my feeling is, that's why I say I'd be surprised if this, because if Bernie Sanders is the front runner going in, I doubt there will be an election. That's just my feeling, you know. All right, some other dynamics. Moon in Libra, 6th house. This is the year we got to pay attention to our emotional wellness. Emotional self. 6th house. Our emotions will have great impact on our physical selves this year. Greater than normal. We know emotions impact the body anyway, but this year it'll be exaggerated. This year more than ever, we gotta pay a lot of attention to our feelings, manage our emotions, do our best to control and minimize toxic emotions, maximize, I call them the magnetic emotions, you know, love, gratitude, right? Joy, ecstasy, okay? Now, the moon's in Libra, this means relationships is a factor in this equation also, okay? So, we can't allow our mates, partners, relationships to cultivate toxic emotions in us. If you got those dynamics, you gotta really, assess the value of that relationship, you know, because is it worth your health? Is it worth your wellness? Those are gonna be questions you'll have to ask, okay? And healing relationships is going to, and if you say yes, the relationship is worth it, then you gotta do collective healing, co-healing, each one heal one on emotional levels. Moonstone, great stone for this time. Opal, great stone for this time. Okay? All right, also 6th house. Jupiter in Virgo. Jupiter's at its detriment in Virgo. Okay? Virgo is one of those signs we need to concentrate and focus. Jupiter expands. Okay? Especially with Jupiter and Virgo in 6th house, automatically weight issues, body image issues. Okay? It's going to be big this year, in the media this year. Okay? And right after I gave this forecast, earlier, like in December, bam, what happens? How did the year start related to this? Who knows? Oprah bought Weight Watchers. Well, I don't know if she bought it, but she invested in it. Oprah invested big money in Weight Watchers, right? And started the year going on television promoting it. And what? Weight Watchers stock blew up, right? But remember I said Jupiter's at its detriment in Virgo? I think it's gonna come back to bite it. I think it's gonna be like, yo, Oprah, we trusted you, but Weight Watchers let us down. Okay? So we'll see. Right? But weight gain, obesity, body image, right? So we're seeing this year, another way I've seen this manifest. As I said, I do kind of feel like I'm cheating because we're quarter year through. But I noticed another theme I've seen this year, full-figured models. You know? And it's like, what? You know? So, to see that thing going. Now, one other way this may manifest, we got to pray and affirm it so, because of campaign politics. With Jupiter and Virgo, there may be a window for GMO reform. There may be a politician who feels like, you know what? I'm trying to get in. I know Monsanto got all this money, and I might have to fight with them Bush boys a little bit, but I want to be president. And these people don't want GMOs, so I'm going to jump on the GMO reform bandwagon. And they got enough momentum behind it to actually have it happen. Okay? Or Monsanto might just mess up. One way I saw this manifest, one of Monsanto's labs got burnt down. Y'all heard about that? Yeah. One of their labs burned down. All right. Oh, another thing to watch out for, sad to say, there may be Virgo rules food commodities. Jupiter is inflationary. Okay? So food prices, you know oil's going down, food prices may go up. All right? All right. Also, just individually, I think I mentioned this. Virgo is one of them. Virgo is all about discernment. If you discern something, you gotta isolate it, focus on it. Jupiter is all about the big picture. So, this is a year where we really are going to have to check our perspective on things as far as overanalyzing, under-discerning, overindulging, underestimating. Okay? So, you know, a good confidant, someone that you can trust to say, look, I got this vision on this. What do you think? Am I expecting, you think I'm expecting too much outcome with this? Should I have more reasonable expectations? Am I overanalyzing it? Help me out. You know? That might be something we find the need for with Jupiter and Virgo. All right. Neptune. So we'll look at some of the outer planets. We're going to talk about the outer planets real quickly too, but Neptune in 12th house in Pisces. This has been something, now Neptune's been in Pisces for a number of years, so these are themes that we may have already seen, but we're going to see more of it because Pisces was at the 12th house cusp, the beginning of this year. So accelerated prison reform, you know, amnesties, pardons, reform laws on the mandatory minimum sentencing, right? Non-violent drug offenders, early release programs. We can expect to see more of these things. The ganja legalization, of course, big Neptune and Pisces thing. And beyond just the legalization, the realization that this is possibly food, clothing, shelter, fuel, and medicine for the masses. And we got to stop fighting it and embrace it. One way we're seeing this, we got this whole community of elders down in Philly healing one-on-ones, turning back their hands of time, healing with the ganja oil. And these is elders who, like, I've known them for, and these my elders, I've known them for a long time. And I know they wasn't dealing with that thing, you know? But they, whereas maybe 10 or 20 years ago, they was fighting it. Now they healing themselves, they jogging, they running, they eating, they having fun, and healing others. So I'm seeing this, also Star Nation awareness. Neptune is the arc. Like astrologically, it's the arc. And when you study ones who've had real ET phenomena, Neptune is usually very active. Neptune is the activated planet when someone transfigures, as well as has missing time. You leaving this dimension, coming back, Neptune. Okay? Yes, sir. All right. We got Mars in his detriment in Libra, detriment sign and house. Okay? Mars, you know Mars is where the action is, but Mars ultimately represents the yang element. So yang reform, the need for yang reform. So what does that mean? Well, I mean, we used to be able to say it was the brothers, but whoever represents the yang in a relationship, right? Whoever represents the yang in the relationship, they're gonna find themselves needing to do some retrospection and introspection. Okay? How is the yang expressed? Is it a healthy way that cultivates the yin, or is it a destructive way that evaporates the yin? Okay? And right, we said it was a year for male reconciliation. Right after we did this, new TV show came on. What was it called? Who knows it? Dealing with male reconciliation. Women, it's not you, it's... Y'all already heard about this show?
Look at TV.
I hear that. Give thanks. I never see the show either. I just heard it advertising, all right? But it said, women, it's not you, it's... No. Women, it's not you. It's not you, it's men. By Reverend Run and Tyrese. Is that the name of it? Blue, you heard of this one? All right. It's a cable show. It's on that level, all right? But it's still aligned with this tone of male reconciliation, right? And apparently, like I haven't seen it, but just here, like they were doing promoting for it, it's like Tyrese is like the player, Reverend Ron is like the, happily married man, and they're dealing with male perspectives, male dynamics, and how that impacts women, and how that impacts relationships. So, right, it may be on a commercial vibe, but I still think it's noble that even men are deciding to look at themselves and talk about how we impact women through our behavior. So let's all look at it and see what's up, all right? And build on this. I think it's called Women, It's Not You, It's Men. Or It's Not You, Women, It's Men. Something like that. And it's with Tyrese and Reverend Run. It's a cable show. I can't even tell you the channel. All right, how's our time start?
I don't have time check yet.
What time is it, somebody?
4:18. Yeah, it's called, it's not you, it's men.
It's not you, it's men.
Tyrese and Reverend Ron.
Tyrese and Reverend Run. Check it out. Alright? Alright, 418. So I'm going to reason on these things real quick as far as the three outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. So they don't we call transpersonal planets. They impact collectives, generations, and decades more than like individuals, you know. So you know how part of us is defined by the generation we grew up in and the social trends we were part of in our formative years. That's like the impact these outer planets have on us. Right now, yeah, you can follow that. Right now, we got Uranus in Aries, Neptune in Pisces, Pluto in Capricorn. Yes, sir. We keep going. All right, so now, with Uranus in Aries, the so-called Arab Spring, or basically the chaos and the war in desert regions, Aries ruled regions, Arab ruled regions, right? That's a trend we can continue seeing through 2018, right? In alignment with that, Uranus rules uranium, Iran, an Aries ruled nation, on that quest to get nuclear capability. 2018, it may be a reality. We got this lone gunman phenomenon we talk about. Aries is, you know, the lone person. Uranus is all about individuality. So on one level too, this is all like, if you've noticed, there is a greater detachment, a greater individualization occurring societally. But then another way we see that you got these lone gunmen. Just, I'm an Uber driver and I'm just gonna start shooting mugs, you know? Yeah, that's Uranus and Aries. It's a trend we could probably expect to continue through 2018. Yes, sir. Yeah, Uranus rules technology, Aries rules the head. And we got this social trend that's been accelerated since 2011. It may culminate by 2018, sad to say, but ultimately it's all about getting that microchip in the head.
They're also talking, I noticed the trend, so at the beginning, they're always talking about hypnosis.
Hypnosis,
That's the big trend now.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir.
But look here,
Yes.
I've seen they have technology. China, they make it 12 million yet. They got Bluetooth and everything, hats, visors, and all types of. So it didn't hit. I would imagine it probably might hit next winter because I saw it in a lot of winter clothing, things of that nature. But yeah, it's gonna be to a point where you have your
Everything's
phone.
Bluetooth.
Your phone's just gonna be in your head. People gonna sign up for it. Well, you ain't gotta crack the screen.
Another way this is manifesting is the digital identity. Aries is like our I am. Uranus rules technology. So these avatar identities, these catfish identities, these you know, your Facebook profile, you know, you being known more digitally than really, you know. All right, and you mentioned that, the lone gunman. Oh, these are some of the ways it manifested. So right, smart card technology was enforced by law last year, right? We had the San Bernardino shootings, the Paris shootings, of course what's going on in Syria, right? All right. right, Neptune and Pisces. We can go on. All right, so Neptune is our, like if I say close your eyes and visualize your dream come true, your paradise, that's the Neptune in, right? And Neptune's in Pisces. Pisces is all about the 12th house, sanctuary, harbor places, right? Fulfillment, atonement, redemption. So this is a big theme. This is what I know two people, very close to two people, who've left Babylon. They down in Jamaica living paradisical, making earthships, eco-village. You know, they got, it's like with Neptune and Pisces, we can see people live, that when I say close your eyes and tell me see your vision, your dream come true. There are people making it happen with Neptune and Pisces. Yes, sir. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Let me, you know what? We can back up the chart now. I'll check that out.
It was retrograde this year.
You say what?
I think that was the plans for retrograde.
No, Jupiter wasn't retrograde at the beginning. I don't know if... No, that's right. Now I'll have to double check, but I don't think there were any planets. There were no planets retrograde at the beginning of the year.
They were all direct.
Everything was direct. It was a very unique time. Yeah. So, but now, that dream, right? That vision, this illusion.